it's one thing I've noticed in the gaming industry or the landscape of Twitter talking about video games, no matter what a PlayStation fanboy ever says, everything that is ever done is never, ever good enough. The goalpost will always shift, it will always move, and it will always be at a detriment to another company who apparently they don't play those games on or they don't buy those consoles of, but they sure as hell want to talk about a lot of Xbox all of a sudden. Kind of weird, don't you think? You see, because PlayStation fanboys talk about two things specifically. They talk about either console sales or Twitter talking about console sales, and this video is no different by that fact, because last week we talked about this directly, how PlayStation fanboys were screaming from the rooftops,
"Oh, you finally got Final Fantasy 16! Now you have to buy the game!"
No amount of sales will ever be enough. Did you buy 3 million copies in 3 days like we did? If you didn't, then there's no point of you getting the game now, is there? And apparently things had to have happened because the past couple of days have been exposing the fact that no matter what happens on the brand that these fanboys don't care about, they seemingly have to talk about how many people are buying video games on that platform. This self-aggrandizing, self-flating thing of going around and talking about how much money you spent on a product, thereby guaranteeing you should get more of that product. It's almost like this corporate sucking behavior is not a good thing at all. But here's the kicker though. Everybody was fooled. You see, because a few articles from places like Game Rant and tweets were saying this. An industry analyst estimates that Final Fantasy 16 has sold a shockingly low number of copies after its first week on Xbox Series X and S. And they weren't the only ones, because Push Square made another article as well. Final Fantasy 16 may have underperformed on PS5, but it's doing terribly on Xbox. It's honestly really crazy to see how a lot of these news articles are writing about this thing specifically, but they really don't show where they're getting the information from. And it gets even worse because these articles and places from these other websites are literally exposing what I like to call the Ekbok tax. Yes, I'm finally admitting it. I've admitted it before and I'll say it again. The Ekbok tax is actually real. Coming from a PC gamer from an outsider perspective, it's really crazy to see how no matter what this company does, it is in fact never good enough. People melting down about the Asus ROG Ally Xbox simply because it has an Xbox logo. Everybody also losing their minds about Xbox's new console coming out that is in fact just a PC simply because the logo on the box. I thought it was all crazy. Apparently, though, I keep getting proven wrong, and I love to be this kind of wrong. However, though, this news did catch PlayStation fanboys, and it turns out things maybe not so good for them either. You see, because good old fan of the channel, KJN Gamer, said this: "I'm honestly surprised it is as bad after so many were vocal on wanting Final Fantasy games." And he posts an image that he apparently somewhat made himself, I'm guessing, saying 22,000 sales in 1 week on Xbox. Final Fantasy 16. That's oddly specific, KJN. I wonder where you got that number from. And really, of course, you being that exact same clown previously who was talking about, "Oh, you finally got the game, you should go buy it." No, again, game companies are not charities. They have to earn the dollar from the consumer. You being the kind of consumer that will just give them your money regardless is not how everybody else is going to behave. But let's see where you got this information from, shall we? Because you tweeted right below your initial tweet saying this. This is from the people from AlignAnalytics.com. The same people who believed their figures about Forza, Indiana Jones, Grounded, Sea of Thieves, and sales on PlayStation. Also, their split sales on Expedition 33. So if you believe them on that, are you going to believe their figures? Well, KJN, let's find out exactly how Align Analytics in fact got their information, because you're taking everything at face value, which is really wild because you are in fact that kind of do something like that in the first place. But let's see what happened in a thread from an actual representative of Align Analytics and how they got that number directly, shall we? Sammy Baker responds to a tweet thread saying this: "I wish we could get the numbers. Can you at least do some estimates at Align Analytics?" Lacrix, who is part of Align, responds saying this: "It has sold approximately 22,000 copies on Xbox as of yesterday." Pep responds, How do you know? Ichiban says, probably from his crystal ball. Alinea Analytics are notorious for pulling numbers out of thin air without explanation. Lacrix responds by saying this: these are estimates. 700 reviews on Xbox compared to 37,500 reviews on PlayStation and 23,263 reviews on Steam. So wait, hold on. Let's gather ourselves correctly here. An analytics company decided to go ahead and say that the way a game sold on a platform, and they're using a reference point of reviews of that game to determine the amount of total sales. If I wanted to get numbers out of a crystal ball, I would do that specifically. This is just as bad as people using Steam player chart and concurrent player numbers to determine whether or not a game is doing well or not on a platform, even though concurrent players does not mean total sales. You clowns do this all the time. And now we had fanboys running around for 48 hours the last couple of days talking about it bombed on the platform everybody wanted it on, even though the numbers are getting it from are from a hack website of analytics, and all they did was extrapolate reviews on the platform to determine sales as a reference point. Do you see how all of this is? How insane all of this has to be? The fact that you clowns that we're going to see consistently down this line in the next set of tweets are running with this rampant and have no idea, do zero information, do zero research, and are just walking around being like, we spend more money on our preferred platform than you do, therefore you shouldn't get the video game. Well, it turns out every single one of you put on the clown nose and put on the makeup and the wig, because clearly all you guys care about is a fictional plastic console war that is literally over. But let's see what they had to say though, shall we? Because this is going to be good. Only Good Games tweeted this out saying, Xbox players are the worst. Support good games, FFS. Game Pass really rotten you guys' brains. If you want to talk about pure classic brain rot, it is literally this right here. How can you type all of this out, not read it back to yourself and be like, oh, I had the writing capacity of a 5-year-old. I can't even make the proper words in a sentence correctly. Hello? McFly? Is anybody home? Are the worst? No, my boy, it's the worst. That's what it is. Also, really rotten you guys' brains. What are you in the Goonies? Hey, you guys, you gotta get over here, give me the Snickers bar. I like it when the veins are down and they touch my tongue on the way back of my throat. Bro, it's wild to me how this dude consistently console corporate rides every single time, talking about how Xbox fanboys are the worst. We can go back all the years of content that I've made about PlayStation fanboys specifically being some of the worst human beings of all time in this hobby. And you're going to really say this because Xbox guys didn't buy their video game that you wanted them to buy. At the same token, you're taking this number of the copies sold from an actual analyst website who doesn't know what they're doing. But the self-exposure gets even better, because Alex Urena responded to Only Good Games saying this: game is now in the top 15 most sold on Xbox. Stop spreading nonsense. Where Only Good Games responded saying, my comment is based on what I've been hearing by the media. Top 15, but what place? If below 5, my point still stands. It's Final Fantasy, FFS. So it's never good enough. It's never good enough. It's never good enough. You admitted that all you did was just parrot what everybody else said in your little clique of morons that you hang out with consistently. And then in that clique, you said, oh, hold on. It's just what they've been saying in the media, you guys. They can't be wrong. The media's never lied to anybody before, like ever in your life. I bet that one's going to come back to bite you in the ass later on in life. But hey, let's continue on this though. And then again, the goalpost gets shifted one more time way past the Overton window. And we're looking into the fact of, oh, top 15? Well, if it's not top 5, then it's a flop, my boy. Oh, God. Oh, God. It is never good enough. How is it never good enough for you clowns? It's wild to me. King Pony himself, Colin Moriarty, tweeted this out: you should consider actually buying the video games you claim you're interested in. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. This Colin, Colin literally worked for IGN. He was an actual video game journalist, and he couldn't take the 2 seconds to look at a line analytics and be like, oh, they're a bunch of clowns. That's how they got their numbers. But he had to go out and literally console war to protect his sacred plastic box. That's a little deep cut of a joke there. But it's wild to see how even Colin has to go around and do this specifically. Again, games are not a charity. Game companies do not automatically get our money simply because they put a game on our platform. They have to earn that money. And the fact that people like Colin are going around with a platform as large as his saying these things specifically only continues the actual sheep mentality of what we've seen so far and what we're going to be continuing to see as well later on in this video. This right here is exactly what happens. People like Colin with their platform on their size will say something and then it is parroted all the way down. Trickle down economics to the fanboys is what it is, as they lap it all up, trying to validate their product of purchase of $500 to $800 of a console without realizing that corporations are not your friends. They're not your friends. Stop being friends with them, boys. Here is Uni Sensei. This guy. Oh man, this guy. Xbox fans say it ain't true. This is disgraceful. Run to PC, X-Rats. It's your only hope at this point. What's wild to me is the fact that this is the same dude who was literally calling himself Xbox University, and he got so ass hurt about me calling him out being a fanboy that he also blocked me on Twitter. The same clown who will consistently want to have the exact same list wars to fight back against PlayStation fanboys is acting the exact same way. Two sides of the literal same coin, just flip back and forth over and over again. You're not doing anything good for gaming. You're not doing anything good for video games. All you want to do is able to brag on Twitter against other people who, for some reason, you want to talk to, which is really wild to me, even though they treat you like actual garbage consistently. Talking about how many sales a game made on a platform really is wild to me. And spreading this misinformation, after we realized exactly where the information came from, is even worse about it all, because every single one of you clowns looks like an actual fool in front of everybody while not realizing that you are in fact parroting literal misinformation off sales based off of reviews as a reference point on a platform. And the exposing will then continue because Hazardor Gaming, not only a couple days later, tweeted this out. Final Fantasy XVI Complete Edition is now in the top paid games, number 11 on the Xbox US store. Is that not good enough? In the top 20 of Xbox total games sold? Is that not good enough now? Is that enough copies of you clowns to finally be happy about people buying a video game on a different platform that you apparently don't like, that you apparently want to talk consistently, that you apparently just go through and say, oh, Alex, you're just an Xbox refugee? No, I made my channel making fun of Xbox fanboys. Just because they stop being fanboys and doesn't mean that you get away scot-free of your behavior and the way you act on the internet. That's the difference, my boys. The fact that you guys are so ready to jump down the throat of anybody enjoying a different product or a different brand in the space of video games simply because the color on the box is different, and acting like a petulant child consistently, all in your 40s, by the way, getting mad at me, who's also in my 40s, wearing a fucking banana suit, and you think I'm the asshole. I'm getting a lot of stuff out today. Trust me, we're getting a lot of stuff out. It's honestly ridiculous that this continues over and over again. But the goalpost, she keeps a-moving, my boys. Because friend of the channel, Nib95, said this. I'm being sarcastic when I say that, just so you know. Final Fantasy XVI launched on #Xbox last week, yet it's currently number 443 on Xbox Most Played. Final Fantasy 15 from 2016 was said to have sold less than 10% of its console sales on Xbox, back when Game Pass didn't even exist. Square Enix is about to learn Xbox won't make the difference, LOL. I love it. I absolutely, positively love this every single moment of the time. We went from you didn't buy enough copies from this weird analytics website who doesn't know what the they're doing half the time to now, hey, on the actual amount of what's being played right now on Xbox, it's like number 400. So you guys don't deserve the game. You might have bought it, but now you're not playing it. So therefore, you don't deserve it at all. That's really what you're trying to say. And this insane cope about like,
Squaresoft is gonna learn Xbox won't make the difference.
you didn't make the difference either, apparently, because all of your games are in fact going to PC. So you didn't buy enough copies of your own exclusives. And Square Enix, they had to learn the difference as well, because clearly if it wasn't enough, they wouldn't take the games off of PlayStation as an exclusivity deal and put them onto Xbox and PC. It's almost like you're talking out of your ass, but yet you continually do that consistently because you get exposed by the Turk. You see, the Turk tweeted this out and said this: how it started versus how it's going. Weird. It's almost like he's trying to spread misinformation. Good job on the objective reporting. And he shows a video and also Nib's tweet. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because it turns out that Nib went through and specifically did not filter out every other platform that has Xbox games available to play. So it counted every single platform directly, knocking it all the way down to number 443. When you filter it directly to Xbox Series X and S, then Final Fantasy 16 turned out to be the number 25 game played on that platform. The thing is though, we wanted to wait a couple of days because as we saw from Hasador Gaming, there was a bit of an update that happened with the Xbox backend that takes about a day or two to catch up. And when you see what I found, well, it turns out old Nibby95 may have jumped the gun a bit too early, because I pulled this filter up yesterday directly. On the PC-centric side of Xbox, it turns out Final Fantasy 16 is in fact the number 4 most played game on that PC app and platform. On the Xbox Series X and S, right now as of yesterday, it turns out it is the number 10 most played game on that platform as well. Nib was so ecstatic to go around and get a W for PlayStation and being a fanboy zealot, which is the word he loves to use on me so very often, that all he did was do whatever he could to make it look as though no one is playing Final Fantasy 16, and then purposely scroll down without filtering directly to the platform where that game is directly listed onto as of what's being played. It's almost like you are literally spreading complete misinformation. But the copium continues with our boy Nib95. Because Nib, in fact, made this long diatribe tweet, and when you see it, ready to put your face into the palm of your hands. Here we go. Yesterday and the day before, Final Fantasy 16's top paid sales ranking on #Xbox's US store was number 27 and at times number 30, with games like Who's Your Daddy, Slime Rancher, Descenders, Battlefront 2, and Sniper Contracts 2 ahead of it. Today, however, it jumped to number 13. These top paid sales rankings update every day, and yesterday's rankings would have been day 8 of Final Fantasy XVI's Xbox sales. While any number of reasons could have contributed to its jump in sales today, it's possible all the media coverage yesterday about poor sales on Xbox, boosted by Alinea Analytics, the 22,000 first week sales figure, which was posted in my tweet thread, actually helped exposure and acted as indirect marketing. I'll take my check. Thanks, Square Enix and Microsoft, LOL. For context, Starfield was number 1 and number 2 in top paid before the game even released and during early access, highlighting how early a game can rank. And Final Fantasy 16 was number 1 or number 2 for much of the entire month that it launched on PSN, and number 2 in June multi-platform Circana monthly sales chart, highlighting how well it did on #PS5 at launch. Can you see the insane amount of copium happening from this tweet directly? Oh, you guys, look, it was number 27 or number 30 before I made my tweets. But the thing is, once I made my tweet and everybody else talked about it, well, clearly, clearly you guys bought it because of me. So I'll take my check, Microsoft and Square Enix. It's not check, it's check, CHECK. I'm American. That's how we spell it. Don't come in here with some hoity-toity bullshit about some British slang, all right? Take your lift to your loft, you clown. But the actual audacity to not only just simply say, hey, I was wrong, this was totally my bad, you had to double down and dare I say even triple down, as you and a friend of the channel, Gaz, an actual friend of the channel, not sarcastically, was going around and having a back and forth. But the actual amount of devastation launched at you by one little Habibi was really one of the best things I've honestly ever seen. And ladies and gentlemen, when you see this response, it is going to be one of the best responses ever to this clown Nib that we see consistently on Twitter as he continually writes his own ChatGPT stories on video game financials. You're not ready for this one. Gaz responds to Nib in a thread saying this: Nibs, stop it. Do you not realize that starting off your post like but you're literally being a blithering inept? Or how are you Xbox fans as mind-numbingly inept and incapable of the simplest reading and comprehension? Does you no favors. The different metrics. Just look at your post, FFS. It's so transparent in its, number 1, attempt to deride Xbox and FF16 and its initial rankings. Number 2, evidence of your disdain at its number 13 ranking. Number 3, evidence of you struggling to rationalize the boost and coming up with some wild theory, which only then suggests that poor marketing was the cause of the sales. Lol. None of the above would be problematic, though, if you didn't work so hard in trying to fool everyone and failing that you are not a fanboy. But you can't see the wood from the trees. Your post, your reactions to mine, the grossly misplaced superiority complex, the vitriol you spew utilizing the same words over and over like you have done ad nauseum in an attempt to anger or bait a response, or perhaps your anger that you fail to control that leads you to lacing your post with these words. It's all woefully transparent, and it's not clever. Imbeciles might be fooled. Reforge might be fooled, but not in the grand scheme of things. This right here is perhaps the most honest post from anyone trying to explain to you what the fuck you are doing. Yes, I am a troll, but at least it's obvious and I admit it and embrace it. You are literally trying to fulfill the GPT meme about you. I don't owe you this summary, nor did you ask for it, LOL, but I wanted to help in long form with words that are not fluff. Anyways, let it be known I explained the issue to you in earnest, irrespective of the response I can almost predict I will get. At least I may have done one microscopic good deed on these Twitter streets, LMAO. Oh my God! Oh Lord! Oh yes! Guys, that was astronomically perfect in every conceivable way. The literal fact that Nib consistently does those exact same things, tries to go ahead and literally fanboys for a company and corporation. He should either, number 1, just own the fact that he is a fanboy, and number 2, stop trying to use hyper pseudo intellectual language and then calling everyone imbeciles simply because he has a little British accent. That is one of the worst things you could honestly comprehend and see consistently. Nobody likes a smartass, especially when they're wrong. Gaz, I applaud you, good sir. Wonderful slaughtering you've done today. But ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that's usually how it tends to be. PlayStation fanboys will do anything they can, move the goalposts in any way they can to validate their purchase of a plastic box, and it's truly the most pathetic thing in every conceivable way. The fact that these fanboys move from game sales, which were done incorrectly or without any true data, from a website that has been known to provide incorrect data consistently, and then parade that around as if Xbox is a failure, while also turning around and then once proven incorrect, move the goalpost from sales to people playing the game, while also incorrectly filtering where that game is being played on which specific platforms. It truly goes to show that these fanboys will do nothing to stop their insane ramblings of trying to validate their purchase of a plastic box simply because the logo is different. Instead of just enjoying video games, instead of being happy someone else gets to play the video game, they are angry that an exclusive that they like to use in their fictitious console war is no longer available to them on their stupid list war. And that is why you get someone like me, a guy who wears a banana suit and makes fun of you consistently. But you know what? Continue to behave this way so I can keep making content about you, because it is truly one of the best ways for me just to have a little bit of fun with my community, and we all greatly appreciate your stupidity. And with all that being said, if you liked today's video, thank you. And if you didn't like it, fuck you. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content like this, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 85,000 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live on this channel, we have some of the best live streams on the internet, hands down guaranteed, where 800 to 900 people will consistently embarrass me with AITTS and make me do horrible things while wearing a banana suit. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? You need to stop everything. What are you doing with your life? This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? Just stop. Just stop. Stop. No. Just stop. You're a fucking idiot. It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? You need to stop everything. What are you doing with your life? This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? Just stop.